What's happening, guys? Welcome to Full-Time Reaction. Liverpool have beat Real Madrid 1-0 at Anfield. We're joined by former Premier League defender Nedum and our tactics correspondent Umir Irfan. Gents, how are we?
Really good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Do you think that is the best we've seen Liverpool play in a long time? I know they beat Aston Villa at the weekend, but performance-wise, is that the best we've seen them play?
I thought they were brilliant, and I think you always have to take into account the opposition. I think Real Madrid probably a little bit too safe, and perhaps there were chances where they could have got at Liverpool, but Liverpool look a little bit more like their version of last season.
Yeah.
I certainly think they were really impressive, to be honest.
Which other performances can we sort of like bring into that ranking in terms of how good they've been this season? Because definitely not the Premier League ones.
Yeah, like if you pick, you can't pick out like a...
Yeah, because the Premier League ones for me...
Even when they were winning.
Even when they were winning, you had some issues and stuff. But I couldn't say an issue today apart from the fact they didn't score more goals. But if you win a game, does it really matter?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that was really good. I was very impressed, actually. But it's like, it's Anfield, it's against Real Madrid. Like, that's as big a game as they will play. I know there was the United one.
Yeah.
But like...
Yeah, exactly. In terms of the Champions League schedule, league phase and stuff. Before we get
and everyone will talk about tactics, and tactics are important. We'll get into it for sure. But like you mentioned, the crowd, you can see Salah, like his intent.
Of course, different energy. Everyone is probably a fan of someone. There's some games which feel different.
Yeah.
You want to get there sooner. You want to sing more.
Yeah.
You get a different feel for it. And under the lights, like in the Champions League against Real Madrid, for any team, that's as big as it gets.
Do you think Slot is finding his best 11 now? Is that fair to say? Do you think there's probably a few more to it, like Isak coming back from injury and stuff. But with this current 11 that he's put out tonight, is that the best Liverpool can look against a top team?
I think he's reverted back to something of old almost. He's brought Robertson back inside. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. McAllister's come back in with Gravenberch coming back from a short injury. Szoboszlai's been massively impressive. Bradley's the new player, and Ekitike, again, is the new player. But aside from that, you've got the same team from last season in their last two games where they've looked more impressive. And also, I think they're bringing back some of the elements of last season where at the start of the season, they were perhaps more rotational, committing more bodies forward and looking weaker on the counter-attack. And then, now that they've come back a little bit to what they used to play like, I think.
To be fair, it's a good point, but we also forgot about Florian Wirtz, who's playing off the left today.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
he looked unbelievable tonight as well. That's one of his strongest performances.
Yeah, I agree. I think, to be honest, for me, it's the Liverpool midfield three. I think when they're working well, that's their engine. And I think they're also very good in terms of not overcommitting anymore. Because that game for Real Madrid today, in my opinion, Real Madrid played Barcelona, I think it was maybe a week ago. And the amount of times Barca had good possession and then they got hit in transition.
Well, Madrid's system was quite similar to what they played against.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, and that's probably what they've been looking for. But Liverpool didn't overcommit. I think earlier in the season, you could see some of the chances that teams created against, for example, Crystal Palace. And Real Madrid probably thought maybe Liverpool play in that manner. Yeah. But today, it was none of that whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to add, Gravenberch said at the start of the season, Slot's given me a bit more license and freedom to push up and roam. You mentioned while we were watching the game, actually, it looks like he's just sitting and screening in the back four. And when Liverpool went to press, they didn't press man for man. In fact, they left an extra player in their back line as well. So Konate was back, Van Dijk was back, and Gravenberch was screening as well at time. So you combine all of those things, and Real Madrid didn't exploit that, one less man in the press. And because Liverpool was so intense in that initial pressure, it meant that if they did get out, you had an extra body back anyway.
You just mentioned they were so intense. Stephen Warnock on 5 Live said Liverpool just wanted it more. Sort of thing on the night. Is that fair?
Do you know, usually when people say that, I like wince a little bit. But I see it, and Stephen's right there, because on the day itself, you can hear the crowd, you can hear the players getting stuck in a way which maybe we haven't seen them do almost for a totality in a game throughout the season. And there were some battles like the Conor Bradley tackles on Vinicius Jr. We saw that on Mbappe last season. This year, we've seen him go toe-to-toe with him.
Yeah.
And when you think about how significant he is, you see times where Mbappe could hit something in transition, but the work rate from the midfield as well. And it's not to say that Real Madrid didn't want it, but for Liverpool, this is almost felt like it was their everything.
Yeah.
Real Madrid are going to walk off the field and be a bit disappointed that they've lost. But I think Liverpool walk off the field and they feel proud that they've won. And I think, as I say, to be able to perform like that in front of your own fans, to almost try and prove a point. And, Van Dijk as well, we said at the weekend, so many people saying so many things about us, obviously not us. It could never be us. Could never be us. But saying that type of thing, because this week is supposed to be the week of death for them. It's supposed to be Aston Villa at home, it's supposed to be Real Madrid at home, Man City away. The 2 wins down, they've got 1 more to come.
Let's throw it back to the goal. McAllister off the free kick.
The big man.
Oh, well, that's it. The big man, the most unlikely scorer in that
We were
position.
celebrating with Ekitike after the goal, and I was like, how does that
Yeah.
No, if you're a defender, though, for Real Madrid in that, are you fuming? Like, someone that small has got free?
Well, this is an interesting one, yeah. So ultimately, with set pieces, you can try and set yourself up to be as good as you can be, but sometimes, like I give credit to the ball from Szoboszlai, because with, say, football, the higher a ball is, the more you can contest for it. But if it's a flatter ball, you're either in the right place or you're not. And for Real, there was nobody in the right place. I think Carreras gets dragged in a little bit to go forward, and there's a gap before it then gets to Tchouaméni. But ultimately, any person that's in that box is capable of heading the ball. And I think the delivery comes in. It's a brilliant ball. And Real Madrid could have been tighter in terms of that protecting that front zone. But here we go, it's the other side of the coin. If you put your big players at the front zone, Van Dijk and Konate hanging around the back, ultimately, you've got to make a choice. Got to make a choice.
I think with set pieces, like we're seeing how important they are at the moment anyway. And with set pieces, like the attacking team, well, first of all, Slot's talked about we need to prioritize them. We're not scoring like the other teams are scoring. We can see that prioritization today. And then also, like, the attacking team is the one who's setting the play. As a defending team, you're always reacting, aren't you?
Yeah. So we're somehow in the back three now, yeah. And the cross is going to be coming in from your left shoulder.
Something's gone very wrong there.
if you've got like McAllister here, and I forget who the other player was. It might be someone else small that was in his zone. How nervous would you be there compared to seeing two giants on the back post? Like, it will draw your attention. Even the goalkeeper will see it. It will draw your attention, and you can set up. But ultimately, like, your biggest players can't be in two places at the same time.
Yeah.
So they sort of took the preference towards the back post, and that's why it's a great delivery from Szoboszlai. And ultimately, like, when you defend a set piece, you can set yourself up. But only the attacking team, as you said there, can know where the ball's going to go. And it's a great header. It's a great position. Yeah. And it's desire to want to do it.
Guys, if you're watching this, if you're on YouTube, get your comments in, get your questions in. Nedum and Umir are here to answer them. TikTok, shout out to you as well. I don't think you can see me, but
he's here somewhere.
I'm
he's
here,
over there
I'm
somewhere.
here. Get your questions in. We'll try and get to them best we can. Speaking of the goal as well, one last plug. If you want to watch the goals tomorrow, head over to the BBC Sport app, BBC iPlayer, or the BBC website, all the choice in the world. 10 o'clock, all the goals from the Champions League, you can watch them there. And then we've got the highlight show with Gabby Logan at 10:40 as well. So you're sorted for your Wednesday evening, man. Lock in.
It's a good Wednesday night, there.
That's it. So the next talking point, and I'm sure the questions will pop off for this, but Trent Alexander-Arnold. We were on Trent Watch all night. He came
watching
on
the bench.
The cameras were watching the bench as well. The booze. We got to talk about it. The booze. It was loud. It wasn't like it didn't feel like a 50-50 split in the state. It was loud. And when he touched the ball, you knew who it was as soon as he touched the ball.
Yeah, 100%. I think from his perspective, when that draw happened, I doubt he was comfortable with having to come back to play against Liverpool just like that in his first season. And thankfully for him, like, in the grand scheme of things, the game might not matter come the end of the season. Yeah. Maybe they'll see Liverpool again in the knockouts, maybe, I'm not sure. But that psychology of going back to your club is very, very difficult. Like, I did that myself for Man City in 2012. And I'd been... In fact, no, I'm not making it about me first. I'm going to go back to Trent, yeah. So
go on.
I'll segue. Yeah, I'll segue back. I'll segue back to me. Segue back to me. Like, yes, tune in to the end. But yeah, for him, like, he knows the camera's going to be on him. He knows everyone in that stadium has some memory of him, but the most recent one is somebody that chose to leave. And there's so many, like, people in the stands who are tapping the badge saying, we are Liverpool, this, that, and the other. That's their identity. That will never budge. But as a professional footballer, your identity can change. Because basically you're playing in different places.
Short career as well.
Short career. In the grand scheme of life, it's a short period of time.
Everything he could win at Liverpool.
100%.
Real Madrid come calling. What are you going to do?
100%. So he's made that decision, and now he's going back, and everyone's letting him know exactly how they feel. Like,
but the thing is, they also have the right to,
of course,
do that.
Of course, and he expects it. You know, even when as a Liverpool player, he's gone to places where the environment's hostile. You know what I mean? Like, he'd go to Old Trafford, go to Etihad, go to other places around Europe, and people would have been giving it to him. So he's prepared for it. But when it's your own people, it hits a bit different.
Yeah, it stings. It's got a sting.
Yeah,
well.
of course.
You can see he was safer in his passing.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do too much on the ball.
He's not settled. And I think ultimately, compared to how much he will be, at some point we'll see the best versions of him playing for Real. Yeah. But he's certainly not going to be today.
Yeah, well, you got to think with the injury as well. Like, this game to put him in.
It's a trap, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, we were saying he almost, like, he's probably been brought on almost as a, I don't know.
A goodwill gesture.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like go on, you're a Real Madrid player, you have to play
Put your marker
5 or
down.
10.
So you think Florentino Perez was like, so Xabi, come on, get him on. We need to let him know.
To be fair, he's one of your best players at his best. Like,
Yeah, true. And I think, to be fair, from a Real Madrid perspective, it was good that, because he came on, Valverde could go into midfield.
Yeah.
I think Real Madrid miss him in that midfield, and I know they've got good options in there, but Real Madrid side with him there is far different, in my opinion. Yeah. So roll on like Carvajal coming back in, Alexander-Arnold being in the mix, and you see a better version of Real Madrid.
That's it. You think you give it 3 to 6 months, and that right back side will be sorted for Real Madrid, won't it?
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think generally what Real Madrid didn't do enough of today was hold the ball and get through that initial bit of pressure. Like, Liverpool's side was a 4-3-3. The front three pressed really aggressively. Sometimes it looked like a 4-2-4 at times. And in general, there was space in between a few of those players, especially in behind Salah. Now, back when Real Madrid were at their best, you had Kroos and Modric, and they kept the ball in those deep areas at will, and they could kind of probe around opposition. I think Trent is somebody who has that passing quality. Valverde, he has carrying ability if you can find players in there. So, like Nedum mentioned, they kind of missed that almost first phase quality a little bit. It will take some time to get that, but it was a little bit of Liverpool being strong, but also Real Madrid not being at their best.
Yeah, to go back to saying my story then as well, like, it's a surreal moment to go and play against a club you never thought you'd leave. And from my perspective, going back with QPR to play against Man City in the game which was going to decide if they won the title or not, I was like, obviously Real Madrid Liverpool was a far bigger game in the grand scheme of like football. But for me personally, there, I didn't know how to be, because I was travelling up from London to Manchester and people telling me it's an away game. I'm a Manchester boy. I'm staying in a hotel, and on the day of the game, we're going for a walk around just before the game, and like somebody's trying to tell me which way we should go. So no, go this way, not that way. We get to the stadium, and I know every face on the way into the stadium. Yeah. But the only difference is, instead of them saying good luck to me like they had done for the years prior, they said, "Oh, it's good to see you." Oh. Energy's different.
Pain in there.
Hit me hard. Went down the stairs, and instead of turning left at the home dressing room, I turned right. I'd never turned right. For me, that place down there was a myth, the away dressing room. I didn't know anything was actually there. Sitting in, go and do the warm-ups and stuff. They're not applauding you anymore. You know what I mean? Like, all those City fans were there to watch their team win a league title. Yeah. And it was going to be at my expense. So to do that, to be playing against people, because I'd only been at QPR for like 3-4 years, and to be playing against City in that context, because most of the City players were my friends because I've known them for so long. The QPR players were people I was getting used to. So I'm playing my friends in their stadium for them, trying to do that while I'm also trying to stay in the league and continue my career.
Exactly, isn't it?
So honestly, it's stressful, and like, obviously Trent will do it many more times, and I ended up doing it many more times. But that first time, like, there's something within you as like a football fan, a child, and all that stuff, which almost has to leave your body in that moment. Because I remember back in the day, I used to watch City at that stadium, and Paul Dickov, who's like a City icon, scored against City and did a knee slide, and I went to run on the pitch and attack it. Shout out to Paul Dickov, whose birthday the other day, shout out to Paul. But I never thought I'd be able to like play against them. And now that's something I had to do for the rest of my career. Bizarre land.
You weren't taking your top off and doing it with a wire.
Listen, man, the love that I had for that club at that time was one of the reasons why I say certain things happened towards the end of the game to be respectful. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have that level of disrespect within me to just like time waste and be horrendous. Like, I just tried to play the game properly and respectfully. And maybe it led to a goal or something. I don't know.
Do you think it will benefit Trent playing that 10 minutes today in the long run?
I think it should inspire him.
Yeah.
I personally think it should inspire him, and also literally stamp his identity now. Like, your Liverpool stuff is in the past. Yeah. Now you're a Madridista. So ultimately, like, you should feel the same pain in this that other people do. Like, it's almost like you have to separate yourself from what came before and now start thinking about the future.
Which was the first hurdle, isn't it? That's the worst atmosphere he's going to play. Even if he goes back to Anfield, it won't be as hot as it was then.
100. Well,
it could be.
Well, the Champions League final.
Well, yeah, it's like, yeah. Could you imagine that? But it would be a good experience for him.
Yeah,
and he knows that he's not built his Real Madrid career properly yet. So this could be the first block for them to show that, like, he was there to play for Real Madrid and he's not a Liverpool player anymore.
Yeah. We've had Alexis McAllister, the goal scorer. He's been speaking to Amazon Prime after. He said...
Oh, you were going to say he commented?
He's on the stream straight away.
He's in the questions.
Yeah, I love it.
He said, I think it was a good game against a really good team. It was a win, but we know it doesn't mean anything. The experience last season, we finished first, and then after that, we were out quite early. Is that a kind of a consequence of this new league phase, where the games don't necessarily matter.
I've got a take on this.
Yeah,
But you can fire away.
No, well, I think like, look, you finish first and you technically get the worst option or the worst team to face. It's an easier draw, isn't it? But teams are in flux throughout the season anyway. I think you just have to deal with what team's in front of you. I think it does diminish it a little bit in terms of like you're not playing that same team again. And I think, that kind of, in the past gave you that opportunity to learn about a team and give you that opportunity for revenge almost. But I think tactically you're facing new problems, and yeah, I don't know. I think you have to take all of these games in complete isolation. I think his quote makes a lot of sense, and he's kind of taken that approach of next game matters, and that's all you can kind of do.
As a football, I hear managers say, "Oh, we'll just play the next game. We'll just play it." I'll choose that because I know we're talking about the league phase, like mattering, but in terms of momentum in the dressing room, obviously Liverpool, it's Madrid. They would want to win that, but say it's like Spurs played Copenhagen tonight. Like if Liverpool had Copenhagen, would they be as up for it? Like, would it be that?
It's a good question because from the Spurs perspective, they lost badly on the weekend to a big rival.
So it's good for them.
So the next game,
back,
the idea of the next game being the most important one, I think is a valid one because for the teams that you play against, especially domestically, if you overlook someone, you can get rolled over. And then if you get rolled over, then you're in a little mini crisis.
Then it's even worse. Yeah,
it gets a little bit tricky for you. So I understand where it's coming from, and I think with the league phase for me, I think last year, so it's obviously novel. It's the first year of it, but there were some weird things that happened last year which probably won't happen again, or for at least for a long time. Because, for example, when it's in the playoff round, just before the playoff rounds, why is it that Man City, Real Madrid, PSG, and so on are like in the lowest end, thinking, are they going to qualify for the knockouts? That, even if you go back through all the years of the traditional format, that doesn't really happen. There's not that sense of jeopardy. So PSG are playing against Brest in the knockouts, but Brest have got like the second leg at home because they've
they've got the best record.
But then like PSG obviously going to beat Brest because that's that stage in the league. PSG are cooking Brest. You know what I mean? So I think that was it chicken puns, whatever. But yeah, I think for me, what I think's interesting for the amount of games that there are, you get more big games like this. But what I would say is that for the amount of points you probably need to finish in the top 8, your seed 1 versus seed 1s, pot 1s versus pot 1s. If you lose your 2 pot 1 games, if you win the other ones, it doesn't matter. Because you'll still end up in the top 8. And then when we get to knockouts, as we know, every team's good. So ultimately, the advantage you get will be the home advantage. And that's to make a point on last year, because I think the rules kind of changed halfway through.
They did.
Because Arsenal ended up playing the second leg away against PSG, which shouldn't be the case for a team that finishes in the top 8.
In the league phase,
so I think that's been reset for this year. So I think the top 8 really will matter a bit more this year, because you're not going to end up on the back foot at any stage.
Yeah. And even sort of the less favourable draws, you're still going to face top quality,
it's tough, man. But ultimately, like for the later rounds in the Champions League, the most important thing is to play at home in the second leg. That's your reward, because the gaps between teams are so small. But if you're playing at home, you will always be fancied.
Yeah.
Playing at home tonight was Conor Bradley.
Yeah. Nice
Shout out,
by the way.
well, Damir2808 on YouTube. He just said, Bradley, goated. He just wanted it.
He did.
Were you impressed with him tonight? Because I think that, especially fullbacks out of Liverpool have been so heavily criticised. We were talking out there, we literally said, it's so funny that Szoboszlai has been their best fullback. So Conor Bradley tonight, stepping up, that's impressive, isn't it? That's got to be someone who's been in and out of form this season to get over that hurdle tonight against Kylian Mbappe of all players.
Well, I think both fullbacks deserve mention, and also Slot deserves a lot of credit for how he set up his team. I think both in defence and also going forward. Bradley 1v1 against Vinicius, there was nothing there that Vinicius could get at Bradley for. And you always think about the pace that both players, or rather both wingers of Madrid have. I think the way that Liverpool set up gave Bradley, the option to step forward and engage, but also not be beaten in behind. So he was absolutely incredible. Liverpool had a bit of a deeper line as well to counteract that. But in his individual duelling, I think Bradley was remarkable. And Robertson deserves a lot of praise as well. I know he was playing against Camavinga on that side. It wasn't as big of a 1v1 threat, but I thought going forward, what Slot did really impressively was he kind of held Robertson back a little bit. It wasn't a true sort of high and wide wing position. It was a little bit deeper. And what that meant was when Wirtz came inside, Robertson then overlapped, but he waited to overlap. He almost arrived into that space, and that gave Liverpool that solidity in if they were to lose the ball there. But then also if that chance arose, then he would
He
push
can go,
forward and he would
yeah.
arrive. So it was really nice from slot in attack in terms of how he profiled them. But Bradley is a 1v1 player. I thought, he had a shout for arguably the best player on the night.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And I think what I liked as well was, I think you've made a good point there, is Bradley was on the front foot with his defending.
Yeah.
So he established himself very early in the game. Like Vinicius was coming to him and he wasn't backing off. Because sometimes, let's say if you do play fullback, if you retreat into the penalty box, all of a sudden your margin of error like disappears.
Yeah.
Because you can't just dangle a toe because these people are brilliant at winning free kicks and so on.
Yeah.
But there were a few camera angles where they were pitch side and you could see the duel happening. And you could see Gravenberch coming over Conor Bradley's shoulder.
Yeah.
So Vinicius Jr. is looking at Conor Bradley and also seeing Gravenberch.
Yeah, and he's going down the line more often.
Yeah, man. So Conor Bradley's job becomes a little bit easier there, a little bit easier, but he still had the desire and the technique and the understanding to know when to commit, like to try and win the ball and so on, and not falling for the fakes and being able to read the game really well. And I think best of all, as this might sound really, really basic, but a lot of defending in my mind is like effort.
Yeah.
It really is effort.
Well, and leave the first one on them, isn't it?
Yeah, well, back in the day, yes.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is effort, because ultimately, like, defending can be described in so many different ways. And you've got attackers who are really good at pressing. That's effort. That's defending. You've got some people, like, it's very hard for attackers to dribble past attackers because attackers also know what the attacker's going to try and do.
Yeah.
So if they put the effort in, then they can win the ball and stuff.
I think Doku's worst attacking performance was against Iliman Njai.
Because Njai is like, I've seen this. Oh, you're doing the thing. Yeah, I do that. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Conor Bradley was brilliant today. I think the fact that Liverpool made sure they were never too stretched made a big difference. And for Vinicius, they cut his options off and that played into Bradley's hands.
I think just on the point you mentioned about kind of being front-footed, I've always said that Salah's worst games are when a player's touch tight to him because he doesn't have the momentum to face up and dribble at a player.
Yeah.
Vinicius, for me, is the exact same player. If he has a couple of yards distance between his fullbacks,
Let's get him over.
Yeah, you've got the pace to then burst inside or outside.
These players, and we're talking about Vinicius Jr. is one of the best in the world, from when somebody has 5 yards space on you and they're coming towards you, you're not in control anymore. You're hoping that they take a bad touch more so than you're trying to show them in a particular way. But when you can be close, touch tight and start to affect them, then you can see the difference.
Yeah.
Right, quick fire because we've got a few comments in. Lucas Ferguson on TikTok, putting Trent on was self-destruction from Xabi Alonso tonight.
Why? Why's the self-destruction?
As in mood and
that's what I have on the
morale,
question, but I'm going to interpret it as putting him on 10 minutes to go when you don't necessarily need to put him on. Are you chasing the game to move Valverde into midfield?
I think so.
Yeah. Is it self-destruction to know what's coming for Trent?
It depends. I think if you're signed to be a Real Madrid player, you kind of have to step up in moments like that, and you have to be able to deal with that sort of pressure. I don't know Trent personally. I think Xabi Alonso will have a better understanding of his personality.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so do I. But I think if he thinks that he can't cope with that, he wouldn't put him on. And like Nedum mentioned, that there's probably some benefit to getting over that.
Listen, if he couldn't cope with playing at Anfield, he wouldn't be able to cope with playing at the Bernabeu. Like, you go back to younger times, those white handkerchiefs come flying out when things aren't going well. That's pressure. Playing Liverpool's pressure, playing Real Madrid's a different sort of pressure altogether. So I think in some ways, like, if you're on the bench for Real Madrid, especially in the Champions League, you're supposed to be a difference maker. We've seen that in years gone by, people coming on having their moments, and who's to say in a different world, maybe he would have had a moment today, which gets the team back in. So sometimes subs work, sometimes they don't.
Tom from Stansted on the BBC Sport website says, if your club is in crisis and your coach is in turmoil, you don't beat Real Madrid in the Champions League so confidently.
So he sounds like a Liverpool fan. Sounds like he's attacking you there as well.
I know, yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Tom from Stansted.
Yeah, I think it. So there were some overreactions, obviously, but it's because of the sort of the drop off in performance by certain individuals and like the club as a collective. And obviously, there's tons of reasons for that, and the Premier League's super competitive. But we've just seen them win the league title. I think it's fair, in my mind, that the way that you look at a team that's trying to retain the title is probably different to a team that's probably trying to win it, because you've seen that they're good enough to have done it in the past. And this has coincided. If Arsenal hadn't been on this heater or whatever, I think Liverpool probably would have been spoken about in a different way. But when somebody else is the standard, like the talk is, everything's fine. They're in third. they're not close to Arsenal.
Yeah.
At the moment, nobody is really.
And in terms of performance as well, you can see it, can't you?
Yeah, you're like Liverpool. In my opinion, like obviously great team. Thought did well on the weekend. I thought they've done really well today. Like fully deserved today. And I thought Real Madrid would have been able to do more, but I think Liverpool limited that. Yeah. But as we talk about what happened in the last month, Liverpool were clear at the top, and people said that they were gone. And now they're in third and a little bit away from first. So I think it has to be spoken about in a manner where something significant has happened.
Yeah, single games, you can't make like a widespread judgment. And I also think when you're trying to push something forward and change your style, you are also opening yourself up to things going a little bit wrong. So we'll see if they continue on this trajectory. But I think they're moving towards something being a bit more stable and a bit more...
100%. And I've got to say as well, like, I'm happy that his football club is making him feel good again. But a week ago, did he feel comfortable about this week? Yeah. Because if the answer is no, then you're the same as everybody else.
Yeah, how about Tom? So, we're Liverpool Real Madrid tonight, but we've got there's other honourable mentions for the Champions League tonight. We've got Homemaker Tips, great name, on YouTube. Van der Ven's goal, please. Talk about it.
Yeah, it's top. Yeah, really, really good. I think we were saying off air, it was like when he assisted Spurs at Old Trafford. Yeah. Was it last season or the season before?
Yeah. Pacey.
Yeah. You've got that straight line pace.
Yeah.
Who can kind of contend with that?
When, to be fair, when some defenders do start going on those sorts of runs, it's very hard for people to like understand who's supposed to stop them.
Yeah.
And for the size that he has and the speed that he has, like if you look back at the video, there is a defender somewhere that wanted nothing to do with it from the moment Van der Ven started to open his legs.
Well, especially if you're from a standing start, how do you even get close?
Listen,
to that?
all I heard was the beep of a truck reversing. Somebody wanted nothing to do with it. Yeah. But it's a great goal, and it's mad. I didn't think Van der Ven was this goal scorer, but now there's probably like 4 or 5 goals he scored so far this season. Yeah. He's the guy.
Van der Ven's goal, 10 o'clock tomorrow, Wednesday. Watch it. Honestly, it's great. If you've seen Son versus Burnley, very similar vibes. Very similar vibes.
Agreed.
No, I thought you were going to plug the goal against Chelsea again then. I thought you were going to...
Do you know what? So my goal against Chelsea in November 14th, 2010, roughly speaking.
If we have to.
What time?
Roughly speaking, on Super Sunday against Sunderland 3-0 win at Stamford Bridge. First goal. That was somehow the first goal that Chelsea conceded that whole season, the middle of November. Yeah.
But no.
At home, sorry. Obviously, I was going to be the guy to do it. But yeah, thankfully, I don't need to plug that goal because the Premier League... They hold me down on that day. Premier League goal of the day. I always get a shout out
on this day.
On this day in 2010, November 14th, this happened. Wow. It was an incredible day. Yeah, it's not as good as Van der Ven's. It's not as good as Van der Ven's, but it's probably seen by more people.
Do you think you could have scored a goal like Van der Ven's?
Proper straight line pace.
Yeah, I did. But somebody who never played Champions League, I can't say that I can. But another link, I have scored against Copenhagen.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
I've scored against Copenhagen in the UEFA Cup. Yeah.
So
it wasn't as nice as that, but a goal is a goal. A goal is a goal.
Right, let's throw it forward then. Big week for Liverpool. Like you said, 2 wins out of this horrible run of fixtures they were meant to have.
Yeah.
City away on Sunday. If they get that over the line, then...
Vibes are so back.
They're so back,
They're
surely.
So back. They're all the way back.
In the Premier League.
Oh, crown him. You get manager of the month.
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about it. If they win on Sunday, they would have won these 3 games. Yeah. So the 2 league games, international break, might win the 2 games after. He's manager of the month.
Yeah. It's crazy to be saying that.
Crazy word.
Football is ridiculously...
Yeah, it's a stupid game. Early doors, it's a stupid game. I apologise for any takes I've delivered in the last 2 months. Yeah. But yeah, I think this game on the weekend now, I think it changes because they arrive a lot more belief. I think as a player sometimes, like it's instinctive to have doubts when things aren't going your way, when you individually and others around you aren't performing to their absolute best. But the managers help the players have helped themselves. They've put a plan forward today against one of the best teams in Europe. They'll probably be contesting for the Champions League come the end of the season. And they fully deserved it. So now they're going to go and play against the Man City side that know it isn't perfect. And they know this, like, apart from last season, Liverpool don't have a great record at the Etihad. But when you arrive with confidence, anything's possible.
Yeah. I think it's really impressive that, Slot's shown that maturity and willingness to say, look, it's not been perfect. And he's tweaked things. He's not kind of kept going with the same thing. I know Isak's not been fully fit, but he's not been afraid to drop Verts. He's not been afraid to bring back McAllister. He's not been afraid to try new things. Suppose like Fullback, Jones coming into the team. And, not everything's worked, but now the results are on the back of him trying things and getting things to work again. So I do think it'll be a close game. I think Liverpool have sort of tweaked some of that counter-attacking frailties, defending them rather. And we know how good Haaland is at that, so that will benefit them a little bit. But yeah, we'll just have to see. I think this is probably, it's easy to say in hindsight because they've won the last 2 games, but this is probably their toughest challenge stylistically of the 3 games. But they're in great form for the game coming up.
Well, gents, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Keeping us all company tonight.
Don't
mention a 6-7 for the whole thing as well. Incredible. Guys, thank you for joining us as well. Like we said before, you can catch all the goals tomorrow, 10 p.m. Then we've got the highlight show with Gabby Logan as well from 10:40. If you want match reaction from tonight, get on the BBC Sport website and app. All the match reports will be up. I'm sure Umir will be hitting us with some tactics content over the week as well. So keep an eye out for that.
They'll have me in the morning.
Ease in early. Right, that's us for this evening. Have a good one, guys.